What's going on, everybody? This is yours truly, Brother Chris Carr Jr. We thank God for each and every one of you tuning in to today's video. We pray and hope that something is shared to encourage your hearts. This is Real Talks featuring Brother Baron Sandlin. We got him back here again, and we're excited about what God is going to do. Amen. If you didn't get the opportunities to watch our previous video, just take out time, stop this video and go listen to Brother Baron. He shares some wonderful points, and the things that God is doing in his life is tremendous, and we commend him on what he is doing. Amen. So here today, today's segment is entitled The Difference Between a Good Teacher and a Great Teacher. So I'm going to let Brother Baron come on in and just let him talk about some previous experiences he's had.
Wow. I mean, that's a very sensitive subject for me. Just talk about educators. I look at myself because I was a student. Mm-hmm. And I know how I was as a student, but growing up, man, I'm telling you, outside of my parents, there were a few teachers that really played a very vital role in my life growing up, especially in my younger elementary years. Was when I was really having some issues, being a kid, but having my parents there to be that foundation for me, and then even after getting into school and seeing how important teachers are in the lives of kids. I'm telling you, because you can, the Bible says life and death lies in the power of the tongue.
That's right.
And as an educator, you can really you have an opportunity to really encourage kids to, even if they don't see it in themselves, to speak life into them. Even when it don't seem like they're doing what they need to be doing, but you can still speak life, speak positive over them. And I can speak from my own life experience, growing up as a kid, at elementary school, I was mischievous, always messing with other kids and just doing just stuff, and I know the teachers used to hate to see me coming from one grade. Oh, he passed to the next grade. He went from kindergarten to first. Oh Lord, he went from third to fourth. He coming, and again, I know. I tell you what, I know my father, but I'm telling you, I thank God for him, for being there also. But I can think about a teacher, Carl, that and I would say she was my biggest cheerleader. She was my biggest cheerleader, and she was at my high school graduation, my college graduation, and she was at my law school graduation. And I remember walking across the stage when I was graduating from law school, and I looked up, and I saw my parents, them sitting up there, and I seen Miss Fredonia Smith. She was pretty close to 80. She was there. And I'm telling you, man, something just, and I'm like, wow. Because I didn't know she was coming. I'm like, wow. And this was the lady, the teacher that spoke life, not only into me, but into my parents that, look, he gonna be okay. He gonna be okay. I know my mom, and I know they were worried, oh, this boy, I don't know if he gonna make it. I don't know. Even the teacher, some teacher was telling them, he ain't gonna make it. And I can hear him today, that he ain't gonna make it. And maybe some things I was doing, maybe it was true, but you didn't have to say it. You didn't have to tell me that. And I remember one of my teachers had said that, and fast forward 20 plus years, I was at the post office, and I was in line car, and I heard somebody behind me say, they didn't call me Baron, she called me Brian. She said, Brian? And I knew that voice from when I was in the 4th grade.
Wow.
I knew that voice. I remember that, and I turned around, and I happened to have on a suit that day, and I turned around, and when she saw me, she was already crying when I turned around.
Oh, man.
She was already crying when I turned around. But the thing about it, that was the one that said that wasn't gonna make it. And she couldn't say not one word. And I said, yes, ma'am. And she was just crying. And and maybe what I was doing at the time was true. And and it seemed like when she saw me, she was like, wow, you made it to something, and it made something out of himself, for him to be. I was probably in my 30s at that time, but I began to draw this analysis between a good teacher and a great teacher. We have a lot of good teachers out here, Carr, that are doing what they're supposed to do. Teaching the curriculum, showing up to work every day, and doing. But there's some other elements that's with a great teacher that a good teacher just don't have. And I was able to speak at, because Miss Fredonia, she was my middle school reading teacher. And she used to tell my mom that he gonna be all right. He gonna be all right. And man, I can see her now. As I began to matriculate through school, and I would go by and see her, go home and go by and see her, and she would just be so proud and to see us, and I was making my point to go by and see her every time I went home. And so when I found out she had passed away, then they had asked me to speak, to be a part of the funeral services, and in my speech, my subject was during that time was the difference between a good teacher and a great teacher. And I began to tell them, I said that great teacher, she speaks life into that troubled kid's life. Even though he doesn't look like a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or a nurse or a fireman, she's calling him to success, even if he's not walking in it. And I said that a great teacher gives 120%. They go beyond the call of duty. She comes to the house. We live in a small town, so they can call your parents. They can come by and they would see you, and they would, they was like, well, I'm gonna take him home and we're gonna do some extra reading. You can come by and get him. That what was done for me, and so, but and I would say you have some teachers. You got some that are there just for the pay. Some there just for the benefits and insurance. You got some that was called to teach. Mm-hmm. And if you are called to teach, then I'm telling you, it's a difference. Because I see so many educators that are burned out.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Because they just can't handle. And I can imagine you got kids coming into the classroom that are coming from broken homes, and you wondering how do we manage this process? What do we do? I mean, and there are some things that you have to understand that what a great teacher has, she just continues to speak life in them. You're going to be successful. They already hear you. You know good. You're not going to make it. They can already see the stare down. You ain't got to sit there. You just look at me like, and they feel it. I used to get it. I'm like, you just look at me. You don't have to say anything to me. I'm already knowing. You look at me like, here he come. But then there's that one teacher that you can look at and you can see life in her eyes, because she's seeing life in yours, and it just kind of like, it just draws you to her, and it's like, and it just picks your spirit up, because I'm telling you, educators, that I'm telling you, and there's some things that I was looking at I was thinking about, it's called potential protect, especially early on, Head Start, preschool, kindergarten. You can kill them right there. You can kill them in the kindergarten. You can kill them in preschool. Tell them that you're not going to be anything. You just look at them and you don't give that extra that you should give, but you just don't have it in you to give. And I understand educators. I don't bash educators, because I know I was a student. I know how I was as a student, but I knew how I was with that great teacher. And when I gave that speech at her funeral, there was nothing but educators out there. And I knew some of them knew me then. Knew me then. But I'm saying, I'm not that little kid. Because a great teacher helped save my life. A great teacher helped save my life, Carl. And I have her obituary in my office at my house. It's right there beside my mom's picture. I have it there. And my daughter asked me, who was that? I said, that was a great teacher. That was a great teacher right there. And every day I walk in my room, and I see her, and it just turns something. It lets me know that I don't care what the world say, that I can do it. I can get there, because she still speaks now, even though she's gone to heaven. She still, I can see her and it still speaks. You can do it. I believe in you. All right? Now that's from a kid's perspective. I believe in you. You can do it. You can do it. But it has to come from a pure heart. It has to come from an honest and true intention. Some people can say stuff, you can make it, you just saying it, but it's a difference, because you feel it. You can feel that you're really concerned about me. And, so it gets frustrating a lot of times, and with educators, you should count up the cost, because you're going into a field where you can shape the lives of a young person.
That's right.
You can destroy them, or you can set them up for successful life. And I know we got a lot of great teachers out there. I know I talk like that's the only one that was ever made, the one that was in my life. But I know there's a lot of great teachers out there, and I want to tell you, great teachers, continue, because I'm telling you, it does work. I'm a living testimony about what a great teacher does. And I had both of my parents, but that teacher saw me 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw me when my parents didn't see me, you know. And I'm telling you, she is she's a diamond in my crown. I'm telling you, she is. And to the day I worship her and I thank her for all that she done for me. And again, I know there's a lot of great teachers out there, but I'm telling you, your work is not in vain. So please don't go weary in being a great teacher.
Mm-hmm. You know, while you was talking, I was thinking on a few teachers that I had. You were talking about the Head Start, the starting early.
Right.
I remember when I was in kindergarten, she's still alive, Miss Sparks was my kindergarten teacher. And she went out her way on a weekend to come to my house, my parents' home, and introduce herself, brought her daughters, and they sat and they talked.
Wow.
And I still remember that to this day. She went out her way on a weekend. She could have been doing a number of things.
Right.
But she went out her way to come and introduce herself to my own parents
Right.
at their own home.
Wow.
And sat and they talked. And she played a dynamic role in my life. And not only that, but you know, as I went forward and I ended up changing schools, going in towards middle school, I had 2 science teachers. And I don't know why, but every single time they see me, they said, "You're going to be special.
Right.
There's something special about you." I'm telling you, every single time, their names Miss Knapp and Miss Roberts.
Right.
Every single time they see me, they stop me before class. When class was over, before I left the class, "You're going to be special.
Right.
There's something special about you." Even to this point,
Right.
they've all of my teachers have had some kind of impact in my life.
Right.
And you know, the difference between a great teacher and a good teacher, great teacher goes above and beyond what's asked, what's required.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
Impact.
You know, and I know that there's teachers out there, and depending on your prospective states, and anywhere throughout the United States, they're not paid their word.
Right.
Yeah, I get that, and then that's just life. You know, I can't go into the government house and say, "Hey, you need to pay them what they're worth." I can't say that. I don't have that power. But what I can do is say thank you. I say thank you to all those educators, just like Brother Barron was saying there. Thank you for what you're doing and the time that you invest and the hours that are spent trying to come up with lesson plans and trying to impart different things in these young people's lives, because it's very necessary in the times that we're living in. You know, the Bible talks about people gonna turn good's gonna be evil, and evil's gonna be good.
Right.
But if there's that one teacher that's saying, "Hey, you know what? Despite all that you're doing, you good.
Yeah,
You're gonna be something.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You're gonna be special." And I remember this is it's kind of funny. I was in, I want to say maybe 5th or 6th grade.
Right.
I got to class and I got to sit with all my buddies, and we had a good time in class. Well, one day the teacher decided she wanted to have seating assignments.
Right.
Man, came in because I just kind of figured that, you know, me and my boys, we were gonna stick together.
Right.
Got in there, got my seating assignment, and my jaw dropped. Man, I had to go sit with the kids that were ostracized, that had been kicked over to the side.
Right.
Had to go sit with them. And I seen all my buddies ended up sitting next to each other. And man, I cried.
Wow.
I cried. And I had to sit by this girl, and man, she was humming. I'm just going to be real. She smelled bad. She smelled terrible.
Right.
But my teacher, after the end of the day, she said, "Why are you crying, Chris?" She said, I said, "I can't sit with my boys, you know."
Right.
And you know, you literally, you know, stripped me from everything.
Right.
You've literally put me in a place that I don't want to be. And she said, "I put you there because I see something great in you." She said, I know that you can take these kids around you and make them shine.
Wow.
She said, I see enough in you. You don't realize the opportunity that you're getting to make an impact in someone else's life. You know, you're comfortable where you're at, but I'm putting you in an uncomfortable position to make an impact. And the lesson I learned sitting with that group right there taught me not to show prospective person.
Right.
The lesson I learned in that moment from Miss Morris, and she's still here, still alive. The lesson I learned from her in that moment taught me to treat everybody the same.
Right.
The lessons that Jesus teaches us in the Word. Love your neighbor as yourself. The lessons I learned at that table showed me not to make fun of people who had special needs. It taught me not to look down on them because of where they are.
Right.
They can't help what happened to them in birth or how they come out, the way they thought, the mental process. There's something special about them.
Right.
And man, I developed the most blessed relationships with those individuals. People made fun of them, but I made those kids my best friend.
Wow.
And it was those kids, at the end of the day, if something went down, they had my back.
Really? Wow.
When my buddies ran, them kids had my back. And I would have never learned that if I wouldn't have had a great teacher see enough in me to say, I'm going to put him in an uncomfortable position that he can come out as gold. You know, God, and I honestly believe that the trials and tribulations that we go through, God puts us in those positions to bring something out of it. When we had Spring Revival, we had a preacher, the sermon, his title was Bitter or Better. And, you know, we can allow the different things that we go through. Teachers can allow, you know, trouble, classrooms just full of just terrible kids. They don't want to listen, they won't do it. They can allow that stuff to make them so bitter to where they're like, I want to give up, I want to quit, I'm done with it. I'm going to pursue, but there's a gift that God has given you to make such a tremendous impact in somebody's life. Don't allow what you're going through now, or just because the situations look like there's no hope, don't allow it to make you bitter. Allow what you're going through to make you better. Allow it to shape you and cultivate you, make your mind think in another aspect that you can, another perspective that you can make an impact in the individual's life.
Wow, man, Jay, that's you know, you made me think about my kindergarten teacher, Miss Bird, and I hadn't seen her in years. So if you're out there, I would love to speak with you, Miss Bird. And she's my kindergarten teacher. I remember, if I can recollect, I think I had a bad day that day, and she took me home with her. And I remember my parents coming by and picking me up later on that evening. She took me home with her and spent time with me, and I just played in her house and just played, and you know, and I can't remember much beyond that, but it was just the point of she taking out the time to take me home and to her house, and see back then you didn't have all this craziness going on as you do now. You had you know, I know it sounds like an oxymoron now, but you're like, what? Those was a good day. But you know, she was a bright spot in my life early on in kindergarten. Awesome teacher. I can't remember, but good things about her. And then I had a 6th grade teacher, Miss Patterson, who was a positive influence in my life early on. So you know, those K through 6 were my tough time, you know, for me. By the 6th grade, I really started catching on. 5th, 6th grade, I started catching on, and started focusing more on my behavior and my grades, because of, you know, God had placed these teachers in my life at those times, you know, to speak those things in me. And I wanted to speak to something you said about the comfort zone. Sometimes God has to, he interrupts our comfort zone. Because like a lot of times we don't grow until we're put into an uncomfortable position.
That's right.
Then we begin to grow. As long as we're all comfortable in the same thing, you know, everybody doing the same thing, you know, we're good. And I learned growing up that I don't want to be the smartest person in my group. I want to be surrounded around people that know more than me, that has more than me, so I can always look to grow, to better my own life, natural things that I want to do. So try to surround myself around people that are much smarter than me, that knows more than me. Even when I was growing up as a kid, but I tell you, you could not put a price tag on those three teachers. I couldn't pay them enough. I couldn't give them enough money to show them how much I appreciate them. That could satisfy. I can give them, to show my appreciation, but they're worth. I'm telling you, we cannot pay great teachers enough. So if you are in leadership or principal or superintendent, and you know these teachers are great educators, we need to put some incentives in place for them.
Yes.
We need to do something to let them know that we see your efforts. Even if it don't come from the school system, if it come from the community, the
Yes.
churches, whoever, the city government, county commission, whoever, when we see these teachers going beyond the call, because I know many of you educators are buying your own school supplies for your classroom, for the kids that don't have it, and these things. I know many are doing it, but each community should be able to take care of their own.
That's right.
Because you can't, I know it's not going to take. You can pump money into the education system and it won't change it. What's going to change it? You know what's going to change it? Great teachers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to change the education system. Is great teachers. We got to get rid of those bad apples and put those great teachers in there. We need to hire more great teachers. Pay them what they're worth. But that's what's going to change the education system. Is great teachers that understands where these kids come from. They understand what this kid is missing in his life. They can spot trauma. Right? There's a doctor, I think she was a Surgeon General in California. I think she had posed that every child should be tested for trauma coming into school, and that doctor should put a care plan in place for that teacher to show this is what you need to look for. If this happens, this is what you need to do, because we have so many kids today that are dealing with trauma.
Yes.
And you wonder why this kid can't be still in class, why he can't focus, why he's so jittery and acting out. We don't know what he sees at home. So as an educator, your eyes must become open, wide, to see. A lot of times we see and we don't see. A lot of times you knowing something wrong, but we just and maybe you don't know which way to go or what to do. But we have to be proactive. And that's why I say, especially in the preschool, Head Start, preschool, kindergarten, that potential must be protected early, right? Before it becomes damaged, So we must protect them, and we must be able to understand what these signs and symptoms look like in our kids' life. But, man, I can't express enough about the importance of a great teacher, man. Cause just like I said earlier in the presentation that we did earlier a while back, is that I can be riding down the road and I can think about those great teachers in my life that spoke into my life, and to the day, I owe them the world. I owe them to give back, to reach back. So if I can do it all over again, I would probably go into education. I would be a teacher, because I'm telling you, we have had the opportunity to go into a classroom where it was probably 28 boys and take control of that class. It's because of it's not nothing that I'm so great at. It's about the spirit that he's put in me, right? And you can't argue with that. A lot of times I can't explain it, because you can go in and say the same thing somebody else saying, but again, I don't want to get too religious, but it is what it is. The anointing is what makes the difference.
That's right.
You can have 10 people doing the same thing. He has some people that say, hey, I can sing, and they probably can. But this one he can sing, but they know why they sing. And it's a different impact.
That's right.
You know, so teachers, you have an opportunity to have a lasting impact. Like Carl was saying, even today, these teachers that spoke to say you were special, something great about you, that has a lasting impact. He's an adult man now, and that still has an impact on his life. So, you know, you have a great opportunity to really speak into the lives of kids. And I'm just so fortunate, man. I'm telling you. And like I say, I try to make sure that I motivate teachers when I go do trainings around the state and motivate them to, hey, look. And some of them probably got out of it after they went to one of my sessions because they realized, you know, yeah, I'm not. I don't have it in me to be a. I don't have it in me to be a to give that 120. Well, you get to know your calling before you go in it. Some people just go in it just because of the prestige. No, you need to be called to do, and you can tell the teachers that are called knowing they're not. You know, you can tell. Imagine if you had a class, if you had a system of nothing but called educators. And I'm gonna start right there.
Turn it upside down, man.
Yes,
Wouldn't have the same problems that you're having now.
Man, I'm telling you. Yes, sir.
But we want to encourage you out there, teachers. Continue to do a wonderful and great job. You're making a lasting and powerful impact in today's generation. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. Remember, help is on the way. If you continue to look to the hills from which cometh your help, our help, it comes from the Lord. At this time, we're going to sign off. We thank God for each and every one of you tuning in today. Until next time, God bless.